Hi, hello. Welcome to this recorded webinar titled Emotional Health and Well-Being with Young Living. My name is Valerie Clark, and I am excited to get to share some really great information with you all. I've been interested in this topic and learned a lot over the past year that I've been using Young Living products, but also have just done more research recently in preparation just for this call. I really believe I have some really useful and helpful information for those of you who are looking for hope or guidance in this area regarding emotional health and well-being. First of all, just a little bit about myself. Like I said, my name is Valerie. I am a wife, I am a mother, I am a Young Living distributor. I'm also a certified speech and language pathologist, but really most importantly, I'm a follower of the way of Jesus. My husband and I really believe that Jesus truly offers us abundant life. But it has been really great and amazing for me this past year to see how discovering Young Living's products has allowed me to experience God's care for me and see His creation in a way that I really never have before. So I'm just really grateful for that. Before we get into any of my content, I want to be sure to say that this information is not meant to diagnose, treat, or prescribe in any way. I am not a healthcare professional or provider, but what I am is a woman on a mission to find a natural means to support my emotional balance and health in my own life. I had a season of my life that I suffered from and was treated for depression that ended up being a secondary symptom of an extremely unbalanced thyroid, extremely unbalanced endocrine system. I also personally experience bouts of anxiety currently that range in severity, but are mostly a result of stress. I said previously that I'm a mom. I have 4 wonderful children, but they're all under the ages, well, they're all 5 and under. I have 3 rowdy boys, a 5-year-old, 2 2-year-olds, and 1 little baby girl who's 9 months old. I just consider my children such a gift from God, but because of the exhaustion and the stress that comes along with caring for my kids well, I do battle bouts of anxiety. I share all that just personal side to say that some of what I'm sharing about essential oils comes from experience and comes from how I've experienced them just to be such a blessing in my life. It's also really important to me that I address this topic with care and consideration. The topic of stress, anxiety, and depression I know is a real struggle, and I just want to be incredibly sensitive to those listening. I know that it can feel hopeless and despairing at times. Please know that nothing I am sharing is meant to feel like a quick fix to your pain or hurt or to replace the need to cry out to God and take refuge in Him. And especially when dealing with this topic, please consult your healthcare provider before making any changes to any medications or really to anything. This information, like I said, is not meant to be a quick fix, but offer a possible natural alternative or method to address tension, sadness, or lack of desire to do everyday life things. Okay, so jumping in here, I want to say in regards to the topic of emotional health, how important it is to address the idea that our bodies are not segmented. One system affects another, that can affect another, that can affect another, and so on. Our emotional state can be deeply impacted by so many things. It can be impacted in some ways by our senses, by our sense of smell or our touch. Outside stimuli can cause physiological responses. Anyone who has heard a song or had a place trigger a memory that then in turn triggered an emotional response knows exactly what I'm talking about. The fact that our body systems, even our brain and hormone function, do not stand alone is why it is so important to first think about what factors could be at play when we're dealing with anxiety, stress, and even depression. I believe that circumstances, physical illnesses, chemical imbalances, spiritual influences can all be at the root of emotional struggles. Our diet is a huge thing to consider. You may be putting something onto or into your body that is toxic to your system. I know that when I have taken the time and care that my body needs to eat a diet that is full of lots of vegetables, good fats, lots of protein, I see a significant decrease in my anxiety levels. So if you are someone who suffers from anxiety or chronic stress or depression and have never addressed or thought about what could be going on in your gut or what could be going on in your colon or your liver, I just really want to take the time to urge you to look into that for yourself. And if you want more information on that topic, you can listen to our wonderful upline Lauren Bress's webinars. She just previously did just last week and the week before on cleansing, gut health, and the endocrine system. There are a couple different calls that are really helpful. I think that would be a great place to start. Another great place to start would be by reading a book called Inner Transformations Using Essential Oils. This book is by Dr. Leanne and Dr. David Dearduff. I really appreciate their approach in explaining this interconnectedness of our bodies and our body systems, and then giving us really tangible steps to take to start cleansing our bodies. That book, I could go on and on about it. I just think it's fabulous. So I highly recommend it. Okay, so we can all agree that stress impacts everyone on one level or another. We live in a fast-paced society, and whether we're putting demands on ourselves or they are placed on us, stress is a common factor in the cause of anxiety and or depression. Stress has a very high likelihood of leading to chronic stress, anxiety disorders, and even bouts of depression. A landmark 20-year study by the University of London concluded that unmanaged reactions to stress were a more dangerous risk factor for cancer and heart disease than either cigarette smoke or high cholesterol. So often the difficult thing about stress is that we are not always conscious of what it's doing to our body systems until physical symptoms appear. I'm going to share some really great information from a brochure published by Essential Science. It's called Natural Solutions for Stress Relief. It says, in response to a real or perceived threat, the hypothalamus, so the tiny region of the brain located near the top of our sinus cavity, is part of the limbic system. It sets off a complex alarm system throughout the body using nerve and hormone signals. Okay, so these signals first stimulate the adrenal glands that are located on top of the kidneys to rapidly increase the release of several stress hormones, particularly adrenaline and cortisol. In response to these hormones, heart rate increases, blood pressure increases, and blood sugar increases. Also, DHEA levels decrease, the digestive system, the immune system, and the reproductive system are all suppressed. So very complex reactions are occurring within multiple areas of the limbic and endocrine system, which controls and affects mood, motivation, and fear. Okay, so this cycle is actually God-given. This is a cycle that usually works to our advantage. We're tapping into that natural fight or flight response, but it works to our advantage as long as that threat, that perceived threat or the stress that we were talking about is dealt with and eliminated within a reasonable period of time. The body's mechanisms automatically self-regulate. They turn off that alarm system when the threat passes. They pretty much calm down and return back to normal. But this is where stress in our culture and our society and our lifestyles becomes a problem. Because when the stress or the threat never leaves, the stress alarm system never shuts off. And I believe that that's the kind of stress that most of us are dealing with. So when the body stays in that full alert status for long periods of time, dangerous things begin to happen. First, overexposure to cortisol and overproduction of adrenaline. That leaves our adrenal glands exhausted and no longer able to properly support what they're supposed to do, the normal body functions. Depending on where you are in this cycle of chronic stress burnout, you may feel anxious, fearful, or tense, overwhelmed, listless. But these symptoms will differ, These symptoms will differ based on increasing degrees of adrenal exhaustion. So dependent on where you are in this process. Okay, secondly, the suppressed systems, the digestive, the immune, the reproductive, and the growth systems, they can't perform their jobs properly due to reduced resources. And they eventually result in stomach disorders, different diseases, and could be infertility, lack of libido, poor muscle or organ health. Chronic stress is also known to intensify inflammation levels throughout the body. And this can trigger or worsen diabetes due to high blood sugar levels resulting from that excessive cortisol and insulin. So this disruption of normal body functions creates serious risk for a variety of problems. Obesity, insomnia, digestive issues, heart disease, depression, memory loss, and many other things. But this, you guys, is where I get excited and passionate about essential oils and what potential they have to address this stress cycle. So again, I'm going to share something from Essential Science Publishing because I really like the way that they word this. One of the ironies of the stress cycle is that it requires full mental alertness to think through its causes and take physiological and behavioral corrective action. So prescription sedatives, on the other hand, they act by dulling or depressing brain function and create a sense of calm. The use of sedatives can make it difficult, though, for a person to get a mental grasp on their stress problem and take steps needed to eliminate it. So, essential oils help our bodies to stop this dangerous stress cycle. Whether inhaled, applied topically, or ingested, oils enter our bloodstream and are able to cross the blood-brain barrier, or aromas are taken in through the olfactory nerve located very near that limbic center of the brain, and they exert measurable physiological effects. The olfactory nerve that is located in that call center, that center for the body's stress alarm system, is the limbic center. So that olfactory nerve is located very near that center. Oils can bring both a stimulating and or a sedating effect on the brain, and in turn on other body systems. So these oils are what allows us to stop and evaluate our real or perceived threat, and then take the steps needed to begin to eliminate it or make changes to have different outcomes. One really quick and kind of simple example of this is a personal one. Just the other day, I was having a hard time remaining patient with my children and just kind of losing track of the goal of parenting and loving my kids. And I had a few things on my to-do list that really needed to be done. It was rainy outside. I hadn't slept a whole lot the night before. And after a rough hour of trying to help my 3 youngest lay down for a nap, I began to feel anxiety settling in my chest. For me, it starts to feel like someone is sitting on my chest and starts to become difficult to breathe. This is not a conscious act. So when this happens, I don't even realize it until I'm exerting some of those physical symptoms. So once I realized what was happening, I prayed and I asked God for clarity, and I went to my essential oils. I used Joy and Stress Away, which are 2 oils we'll talk about in a little bit. I took some deep breaths, and I felt the tightness in my chest begin to subside. I was able to gain some clarity on our circumstance, and I decided to throw shoes on the kids, that it was time to get some fresh air and change our surroundings, and maybe even head to the park, even though it was still drizzly outside. But I really believe that the essential oils were what were able to help me stop that stress cycle. So I was able to formulate a plan and change the course of the rest of the afternoon. So I want to add to that also that not only do oils help our bodies to catch their breath from this stress cycle, but I believe they can also begin to heal our bodies from the damage that has been done. Some people use oils in a more proactive way than that personal example that I just gave you. So what I mean by this is, instead of only using the oils when feeling tension or anxiety, they can also be used to prevent and heal the areas in our brains that have been on overload for so long. So I have a few really great friends whose morning routine includes starting the day out by applying some of the emotionally balancing oils that we'll talk about. A friend of mine will say that she can truly tell a difference on the days that she did not include her emotional oils in her morning routine. So I want to talk specifically about some of those oils, but before we do that, I want to touch on the fact that essential oils often have what is referred to as an aptogenic process in our bodies. So again, from Essential Science Informational Brochure, I love this information. It says that in tests monitoring brain waves, researchers have discovered that the same oils can be both stimulating and sedating depending on the state of the individual. Curiously, the oils seem to know chemically which action is most needed because their effect is invariably balancing. In other words, the same oil can have a restorative effect on a listless or depressed patient, as well as a sedative effect on a hyperactive or agitated patient. So in aromatherapy, these oils are referred to as aptogens because they can create different influences depending on what the patient needs for balance. So I just wanted to add that because we are going to talk about some of these oils that are often referred to as typically either a calmant or a stimulant. But I always love to share about the balancing act that oils truly have, because I don't want you to shy away from trying one that could be what could bring some help to you, just because it's commonly known as a calmant or commonly known as a stimulant. Okay, so we are going to pull some information from the Essential Oils Pocket Reference Guide. The picture here is actually of the 5th edition, but there is a 6th edition out. This is a really great resource and tool to have at your fingertips and in your home. If you do not have an Essential Oils Reference Guide yet, please consider purchasing one. And you can talk to your sponsor or someone in your upline that would totally help you get a hold of one of these. So yeah, I just wanted to put that image up there just to encourage you all to own one of these. Okay, so we're going to touch on quite a few oils that are a part of Young Living's Premium Starter Kit. But I just had to throw up a picture of this and explain a little bit for those of you who maybe are not members yet with Young Living. Young Living offers a membership kit that I like to call is really similar to a wholesale membership at Costco, where you are purchasing this kit of everyday oils. It comes with 11 oils, 11 really great oils. It also comes with a diffuser. This kit right here is the Premium Starter Kit with the Aroma Diffuser. And so you see that pictured here. It's a really great diffuser. It's what I have in my home and use frequently. But it comes with samples of Ninja Red and samples of oils that you can pass along to friends and family as well. But this is a really super great way to start with Young Living, and if you are just now looking into oils to address emotional health and well-being, this is a really great place to start, and we're going to touch on quite a few of these oils, and so you'll see why here in a second. Okay, you can see along the bottom that I have 4 bottles of oils pictured that are what Young Living calls blends. And these are oils that Young Living has formulated where they have blended single oils together to create stress away, joy, peace and calming, and valor. But I love this image because it shows how a couple of these single oils that I pictured on the top are a part of these blends. And so I first want to talk about these single oils because I want to show you some research that's been done on them regarding emotional health and well-being, and I think it will speak for itself as to why these blends that are a part of that Premium Starter Kit are so wonderful. So first, lavender. Lavender is a classic aptogenic oil that can be either soothing or balancing to most anyone. In a 1998 study, scientists measured EEG patterns of subjects who had inhaled lavender essential oil. The brainwave patterns suggested a state of drowsiness, yet the subjects were able to perform math computations faster and more accurately, and they reported feeling more relaxed and less depressed. In another study, researchers had female dialysis patients inhale lavender oil and then compared their anxiety levels with and without the aromatherapy. Conclusion was the lavender oil aroma significantly decreased mean scores for anxiety. So lavender is such a great oil. Secondly, cedarwood is pictured. Cedarwood is often referred to as a calmant. It's used a lot to aid in a restful night's sleep. But it is a key stress-relieving oil because it stimulates the limbic region of the brain, specifically the pineal gland, which is what releases melatonin. Melatonin, in addition to being a great hormone, also plays a role in establishing sleep cycles and can help bring stability and calm. Okay, so that's cedarwood. Next pictured is bergamot, and I'm just going to read directly from our EOPR that bergamot actually is a part of the citrus family and has a really lovely scent. It may help to relieve anxiety, bring emotional balance, help to relieve depression, stress, and tension. It is uplifting and refreshing. It helps to expand and open the heart and to radiate energy. Bergamot can be used topically, but it also can be used as a dietary supplement. Place a drop on a teaspoon of honey or a drop in your glass of water. Yeah, a really great oil that's a part of the blend Joy. Okay, next, ylang-ylang. This oil has historically been considered a stimulant and has historically been also considered an aphrodisiac. Ylang-ylang has been recommended particularly with dealing with angry stress. Applying a drop or two topically or just inhaling the aroma can stimulate circulation, lower blood pressure, but like lavender, it can be either stimulating or sedating depending on the state of the person using it. Okay, orange. Orange is also often referred to as a stimulant, but at my university in Japan, several doctors administered orange oil fragrance to a group of patients whose severe depression had suppressed their immune system function. Using blood tests after administrations, the researchers found that orange oil markedly reduced the amount of antidepressants necessary to treat the depression, and unlike prescription and antidepressants, the orange oil also restored endocrine and immune function to normal levels. So this is such a perfect example of how essential oils can normalize and balance physical functions as well as mental functions at the same time. Orange is one of my favorites. I love adding it to a glass of water in the afternoon as a little pick-me-up. Okay, frankincense, such a dearly loved oil. I'm just going to read out of the EOPR just a little bit. It says frankincense medical properties, antidepressant uses, depression, fragrant influence, increases spiritual awareness, promotes meditation, improves attitude, and uplifts spirits. Frankincense is very rich in sesquiterpene molecules that help oxygenate the pituitary glands, which enable it to cross the blood-brain barrier quickly and stimulate many centers of that limbic system. So I like to apply frankincense topically to the base of my skull or to the bottoms of my feet. I rub it on my heart and chest area, and frankincense can also be taken orally, a drop in a glass of water, a teaspoon of honey, or even in a capsule. I included valerian in this list because of this list of single oils, because I came across this German study that I found really interesting. A 2000 German study carefully compared sleep improvements of two groups of patients, one taking valerian extract and the other taking a prescription sedative. Both groups showed identical improvements, but the valerian group reported far fewer side effects than the prescription medicated group. So valerian is not a part of any of these blends, but it is a part of a couple really great blends that Young Living offers, one called Trauma Life and another called Sleep Essence. Okay, so Stress Away. Stress Away is really great just to relieve everyday stresses and tensions. As you can see, it has lavender and cedarwood in it, but also it has copaiba, lime, and other oils in it that make it just a wonderful blend. This is one that I will carry with me, usually in my purse. I apply it on my wrists, on my temples, on my neck. Really, the name of the bottle speaks for itself, and I'm probably going to say that a few times because that's true as well of these other oils. Joy is a blend of bergamot, ylang-ylang, geranium, rosewood, lemon, and rose. I apply a drop over my heart and rub in a clockwise motion. Joy is known to open the adenoids and adrenal glands. So I also will apply it over my adrenal glands located over my kidneys. I also have applied it like perfume. It smells really wonderful, I think. It has a great floral scent on my ears, on my neck, on my wrist, and even across my brow line, kind of that tension point on your head. I love to diffuse joy and even enjoy it in my bath water. It's relaxing. Okay, so peace and calming, again, the name really speaks for itself. It promotes relaxation, a release of tension, and can help encourage restful sleep. It is a great blend of tangerine, orange, ylang-ylang, patchouli, blue tansy, which all of these single oils listed have such wonderful properties that I just encourage you to look them all up if you want to know more information about the other singles that I'm not referring to. Okay, Valor. Valor is a dearly loved oil. It is a blend of spruce, which has grounding effects on the body, rosewood, blue tansy, and frankincense, which we covered. Valor can bring feelings of calmness and peace or relaxation. I find that it works really well when applied to the bottom of my feet. I also wear Valor as a perfume or apply over my heart, my throat, or my wrists. And we really like to diffuse Valor as well. Okay, so those are 4 of the blends that come in the Premium Starter Kit, but know that Young Living has quite a few blends that offer hope to people who are dealing with emotional issues or seeking emotional wellness. So I am not going to talk any more specifically about any of these other oils, but I just wanted to picture them and let you know that there is a collection called the Feelings Collection that would be another great place to look into. I kind of consider this webinar more of like a 101 on emotional wellness, and there's so much more that we could talk about and go deeper. And so if you're interested in that, this book, Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils, is a really great place to go if you are wanting more or to learn more about this topic. Here are some of my references, some of the studies that I talked about, and that really great brochure by Essential Science is listed here. Oh, sorry. So I'm back to the beginning. I'm going to go back to that references page and leave it there for a little bit. But I just wanted to thank you for your attention and for listening. My hope is that this was helpful or beneficial to someone who's struggling with any of these issues. Have a lovely day. Thanks.